My name is Julie. I am a professional counselor in South Carolina, and that's my co-counselor, Ed. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion about emotions, as discussed by Brenè Brown in her book, Atlas of the Heart. Today we're on to chapter 2. And the reason I am so interested in emotions is because we need to be able to understand what it is we're feeling in order to be able to describe it to somebody else and to be able to speak up for our needs. So you want to understand yourself a little bit better? Well, sit back and let's learn more about what makes you, you, today. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing a few more emotions from Brenè Brown's book, Atlas of the Heart. And the first thing that we're going to explore together actually isn't an emotion, but it is something that leads to many strong emotions, and that is comparison. Brenè Brown defines comparison as the crush of conformity from one side and competition from the other side. It's simultaneously trying to fit in and stand out. Be like everyone else, but do it better. Well, as you can imagine, even just hearing that, it's crazy making. It causes all kinds of strong, intense emotions as we try to flesh this out in real life. We can't do that. We can't be like everybody else, but do it better. With the advent of social media, that's even, comparison is driving us more and more. So comparison itself isn't bad. Comparison can help us to do better. It can help us to improve our mood, but it also can make us unhappy. And scientists have discovered that it's not really even related to whether we have upward or downward comparison. They used to think that one direction was good and one direction was bad. So upward comparison means that I look to the people who are maybe socially where I want to be. I look up to them. They might have more money, they might have more prestige, they might have more friends, they might be the size that I want to be. So I look up to them. I feel less than them. Downward comparison, I look at the people that I have achieved more than, that I have more than. And either way, it can make us feel good about ourselves or it can make us feel poorly. Comparison is something that causes a reaction. It's almost something that happens to us. Both types of social comparison can result in positive and negative effects, as I mentioned earlier. She writes, social comparison can make us happy or unhappy. Upward comparisons can inspire or demoralize us, where downward comparisons can make us feel superior or depress us. In general, however, frequent social comparisons are not associated with life satisfaction or the positive emotions of love and joy, but are associated with the negative emotions of fear, anger, shame, and sadness. Those are important findings. Comparison does something to us. So comparison can lead to feelings of admiration. Admiration is when we feel that somebody else's achievements or their life or what they're doing with their life, their creativity, it inspires us. We want to do better. Reverence, on the other hand, is a sense of awe, a sense of being in the presence of something really good and wonderful. It's admiration and respect combined with a sense of being connected to something that's greater than ourselves. So whereas admiration inspires us to do better, reverence moves us to connect with that greater being or to connect with one another. Another emotion that can occur when we are talking about comparison, two emotions really, and they're often confused, and she really does a great job explaining the difference between the two in her book. Envy involves wanting to have something that somebody else has. So we often say to somebody, however, that's a great mug. I wish I had a mug like that. I'm so jelly, right? I'm so jealous of you. But that's not jealousy. That's envy. Envy is wanting something that somebody else has. So we might see somebody driving down the street with a great car, and we're like, oh, I want to have that thing. We see it very often with children when they're playing. They see something that somebody else has and they want to get it. Jealousy, however, involves three people. And we are afraid that we are going to lose the object of our affection, or even jealousy in a job. We might see somebody else come in and we're afraid that we're going to lose that thing. It's fearing that we're going to lose something that we want to keep for ourselves. So if we have a really great friend and we're seeing that great friend suddenly going out to coffee with somebody else, we might feel a little tinge of jealousy because we want to be going out too, and we're afraid we're going to lose our friend to that friend. It makes sense, right? But we often use them in incorrect ways. Remember, envy occurs when we want something that someone else has. Jealousy is the emotion that happens when we're afraid of losing something that we already have to somebody else. Another important facet of jealousy is that it doesn't seem to be a singular emotion. It's something that rises out of fear and anger and sadness when we are afraid that we are going to lose something that we already have, and we assess this as jealousy. Resentment is another strong emotion that we have when we are in the land of comparison. We are resentful. It's interesting the way Brenè explains this particular emotion. I have seen resentment in so many people. I've seen resentment in people, particularly when I'm working with people who are losing relationships, when they are wanting to end relationships. They're angry and they are resentful. And it comes from not getting something, wanting to get something, but not being able to ask for it. It's kind of flows out. It's a thought that flows out of your feelings. That feeling that I want to get something, but I'm afraid to ask for it. There's a sense of I'm unable to ask for what I really want, and so I'm angry that you're getting it. I'm resentful. I'm almost envious that you're getting it and I'm not. So we can see resentment when perhaps somebody is enjoying a day off and they are resting really hard on their day off, and we're angry because we want to be resting too, and we don't realize that it's actually envy leading to this angry expression toward another person. I think her definition will really explain it best. She writes, resentment is the feeling of frustration, judgment, anger, better than, and or hidden envy related to perceived unfairness or injustice. It's an emotion that we often experience when we fail to set boundaries or ask for what we need, or when expectations let us down because they're based on things we can't control, like what other people think, what they feel, or how they're going to react. Resentment really sounds like an emotion of giving our power away, doesn't it? We don't need to sit there. It's a talk for another day. The last two emotions that we're going to explore today are fun to say. There's shadenfreude and freudenfreude. I just feel like I was speaking another language. Schadenfreude is the expression of joy over somebody else's pain. It's becoming more prevalent in society today. We see it in those My granddaughter used to call them hurting man videos, where the fail videos where people fall down and they hurt themselves and people laugh at their loss. Joy in somebody else's suffering is shadenfreude. If we're wanting to build lasting connection with people, we can't celebrate pain and humiliation of another human being. That's exactly what shadenfreude is, though. Schadenfreude is positively correlated with aggression and envy, narcissism, and negative comparison. It's a very negative, connection breaking emotion. It's very powerful, but it is something that happens when we live in the land of comparison. The good news is there's a flip side to that coin. There's freudenfreude. Freudenfreude is when I celebrate the joy of somebody else. When I see a friend succeeding and I celebrate their success. When I applaud somebody else, when I talk kindly about an experience that somebody else had, when I talk them up, when I'm somebody else's hype man. That's freudenfreude. Freudenfreude, rather than breaking connection, is a connection builder. It draws me toward somebody else rather than pushing me away from comparing myself to say that I'm better than them because I didn't do the stupid thing that they did that I laughed at. Schadenfreude. Freudenfreude. I'm going to cheer on somebody else and celebrate their wins. These are the places we go when we compare. And these are the emotions that are important to be able to know and understand so that we can see them in ourselves. I know if I'm feeling resentful, I need to address that. What is the underlying need that is not being met, and how can I speak up for that? If I want to connect to other people, if I want to have a healthy human experience, and I am engaging in schadenfreude, I am finding joy in the failures of other people. A great example that she uses is during the pandemic, people were feeling happy and celebrating the fact that wherever you sit on whatever side you sit, vaccines or no vaccines, but people were getting sick on the vaccines, and people were celebrating that. That doesn't build connection or understanding of another human being, and we don't want to go there. But we need to understand these emotions in order to be able to improve our connection and improve our human experience. Because if I can name something that's going on inside of me, and I understand what contributes to that and what impact it has on my life, I want to connect with other people, but I'm breaking my connections because I'm engaging in these behaviors, I'm able to address it. That's why we learn these things, so that we can apply them, not just so that we can say fun things like schadenfreude and freudenfreude, although they're fun to say. But we want to learn. We want to grow. We want to be better human beings with close connections so that we can enjoy this walk, because we're in this life together. I hope that you enjoyed this today. I hope that you learned something that you can apply to your life. If you did, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share away. This is how we share with other people so that they too can grow and change. Better yet, read the book. Meet with a counselor yourself. Talk with a friend. But grow. The world needs you, just as you are.